Welcome to this weekly update video, and what a week it's been. The East Pacific has worked its magic. While no tropical cyclones were designated, two were probably close to designated, maybe, like 20 years ago, might have actually been upgraded into a tropical cyclone. And let's go beyond the fact that they had zero storms for a minute. The long-awaited convectively coupled Kelvin wave arrived just in time along with the MJO pulse, and that triggered a much-needed spark as, starting around last Tuesday, is when models began to become unexpectedly aggressive with two prospect tropical cyclones relatively close to 130. Both of them fizzled out. The first one was Invest 90E, and that was located around 135 degrees west, 6 degrees north. I mean, it was moving. Both systems were relatively stationary, and AE tried to form, but eventually alpha from the intensifying 91E got to it, and 90E got close, but the system could never maintain persistent deep convection. It never got higher than a 1.0 on the Dvorak scale, so for a while it looked like it was getting there. Now, Invest 91E is a different story. Invest 91E was originally very slow to develop, however, it always had a well-defined circulation. Then starting around Sunday, it started to make some serious effort to become better organized. So this morning, wind shear started to get in the way, and the agency started to lower its chances yesterday, and even though despite the improved organization, today it continued to lower its chances. And now it's getting torn apart by increasing wind shear and probably slight cool waters, as the system's a little bit at a higher latitude at 14 and 130 degree west, and for mid-May, mid to late May, that's high latitude. I mean, in June and July, system will be able to spy there for ease. However, this is an indication that something, second year in a row, the first couple index of the season, are a great indication that something is up. And we gotta look a little bit beyond the fact that no systems were developed, and there were two. In fact, as a matter of fact, Invest 90E was given at one point a 70% chance of developing within the next 2 days, and the 70% chance of developing within the next 5 days, while Invest 91E was at one point given a 60% chance of developing within 2 days, an 80% chance of developing within the next 4 days. Obviously, neither happened. I mean, technically, Invest 91 is still out there now. Has it, and the agency has it as 2020 right now, which is good vision, but I have doubts it will become a tropical cyclone. The reason, I mean, it almost looked borderline classifiable, even as say it was around 12 hours ago. The wind shear is taking a toll on convection's waned a little bit, and most of the convection is about a bit removed from the center, which is still close, and even the center is still only loosely defined. I mean, it was close. Anyway, I loved its effort, and I really appreciate its effort. And if these two investors are any indication, they sometimes are, we could have a potentially long season ahead of us. In addition, we have something that I mentioned this in the last week video, and the model support for a possible hurricane this upcoming weekend has persisted and intensified. And in fact, one of the JFS runs earlier today brought a major hurricane with a pressure as low as 936 millibars, though the most of the European runs and even some of the JFS runs and CMC runs having more modest winds, showing pressures in the anywhere from around 970 to 990 millibar range. But that's still something somewhat, it would still illustrate a somewhat formidable hurricane in real life. And with the way, given the fact that this is the East Pacific, never never dismiss this possibility. And amazing things do happen in the East Pacific, and it's once again proven that this week has proven the East Pacific is continuing to work its magic it worked all last season. It's working its magic that we remember and what we love as fans. And it appears that the season will continue. I mean, there's some hints that beyond this system that the energy has becoming a hurricane, which and also currently has a 20% chance of developing within the next 2 days and 80% chance of developing within the next 5 days. That system is what Mars is showing to become a hurricane, and it will likely be designated in 82 weeks sometime tomorrow or the next day. And it's supposed to gradually intensify and possibly at some point will rapidly intensify because the sea surface temperatures are 30 to 31 C, which is extremely impressive for May. And imagine if it's 30 to 31 C. Now I know the Western Hemisphere warm pool off the coast of Central America sort of peaks in May, but I can't see any significant cooling with this area of warm water happening anytime soon. The water is likely to warm from the very warm summer. Now, in addition, behind the 2080 system, there's some hints of there's some good agreement on a system hitting the Mexican coast in early June, and even the longer range CFS models have been showing a very potent hurricane hitting Mexico around June 12th, so one behind that. So that could potentially be a potential couple landfalling systems that Mexico will have to face this upcoming month. However, the GFS has a tendency to pull up some mischief in these kinds of environments and in these kinds of MJO patterns, so I have some doubts on whether this will happen, but you never know, and we can start the season with consistency. Because the CFS run from 18Z yesterday, in fact, showed a very, very active hurricane season. In fact, the one goes to January, but did show, I don't have the exact tally, but did show levels of activity similar to what was observed in 1985. Very similar to how fast it occurred, and around 15 storms developing by August 27th. That is insane. That's not even counting the CPAC, so I take it that 1 or 2 CPAC systems would probably develop 2 sets. And so looking at, 15 storms, you have 9 more from September and October, and you agree. If you have if we have 15 storms, and we use 15 letters of the alphabet, next June, July, and August, we'll take like 4, 6, 6 or something. You need like a 5-storm September, 4-storm October, and 1-storm November, and the Greek alphabet is being used. That's a little far-fetched, but even a 3 storms in both September and October, and you add W, which would be, what would it be? Which is at W or Waldo. Who would have thought that we'd be seeing Waldo? I never would have thought that we'd have a chance of if you told me a few years ago that we'd have a chance of seeing Waldo, I would not have believed it. However, keep in mind that it's only the CFS. It's only a freaking model that's just mostly for entertainment purposes. I shouldn't use it literally, but just something to ponder about. It's still. But right now, the imminent threat is the 2080 system. Apologize if I got a little carried away, but the 2080, regarding the back to the 2080 system, that too has an interesting future. As the environment's lower, there doesn't appear to be any immediate winter. It appears there's some lot of good outflow channels and a very favorable convectively coupled Kelvin wave phase. The MJO is also providing some help. Side here. Ingredients are coming together for a potentially potent hurricane next weekend, and it appears based on the troughing pattern that will resemble a late season storm and take a very late season like pattern. The sea surface temperatures in May along the Baja California Peninsula are much cooler than what they are in October, especially in the areas that are a short distance offshore. They are like running around 2 degrees below normal. I mean, obviously you have the subtropical jet not even close to being cleared out. Yeah, and that may actually help in certain areas. That may help a few systems if the direction is right and there's enough instability. It may even help a couple systems maintain deep convection. Sort of what you see in the Atlantic sometimes. We'll see what happens. That may even help the future entrees maintain some deep convection because JFS brings it pretty close to Baja, and so does the European. We'll see what the ensembles agree on if Baja landfall. And I mean, the CMC is also pretty bullish on taking it to Sinaloa. I mean, there's also, if it gets weaker, I mean, the stalling scenario you typically see is increasingly likely. If it gets weaker, it'll probably stall out like they usually do, especially around this time of year. But you also have to keep in mind the system's going to behave like lazy. So you know how that old rule about how when systems start to strengthen, they're supposed to pass to the west of Baja? You know how they sometimes shift east? You gotta keep that in mind here, just in case, because it's better to be safe than sorry. We got Hurricane Odile and how that was forecast to stay west of the peninsula. Then once it started to deepen, the models abruptly stayed east. And you saw what happened there. You went, next thing you know, you got a Category 3, arguably a Category 4 landfall. I mean, East Pacific this season's gonna be full of surprises. Like, Dr. Nelson, my confidence level of a very busy East Pacific season is very high right now. So right now, from what I've seen, the East Pacific is just continuing to look smash. Once the MPO gets back here around late June, provided the MPO pulled some of the last year's late June, was unusually weak. If it's a little bit stronger, the EPAC can easily have a few majors on its hands around that time. In addition, there's a convectively coupled Kelvin, probably a couple convectively coupled Kelvin waves. The next one, if I have to make an estimate, I haven't looked at Mike Vitre's site, but knowing with my experience with the convectively coupled Kelvin waves, is if I have to make a guess, the next one would arrive sometime in mid-June. Last year, a similar convectively coupled Kelvin wave arrived in mid-June. Guess what we got? We got Major Hurricane Christina. So we'll see. I hope everyone enjoys the ride. I mean, there's still some possibilities of another system behind this 2080, and I kind of hinted at. I mean, 16 to 12 days out. I mean, JFS had previously switches from the Caribbean, so I'd give it some legs. I mean, there's some ensemble, there's some very good ensemble support. There's even a few ensemble supports for a system that's supposed to partially come from the remnants of 91E, but I can't see it happening. It has taken a weird track, so I consider it phantom. I mean, the CMC shows it, but it is after all the CMC. But I mean, from now on, you're going to be seeing videos a little bit more often now. I mean, now that the season's underway, now there's that legitimate tropical activity now, not just speculating like we were for the previous few weeks. Now the switch is starting to turn on. A little earlier than I thought a couple weeks ago. I thought we were still ways away from the switch turning on, and but now once again the EPAC's back and it's working its magic. I mean, my next video is probably Wednesday, because I think at that point there's going to be legitimate signs that 90 invest what will be Invest 92. We will probably start organizing by that point. And my estimate is that'll be declared probably by Thursday, should be. And we'll kind of take it from there. It should have a fair amount of time, like most East Pacific hurricanes, it should have a fair amount of time to strengthen before it encounters cooler sea surface temperatures, but we'll see. I mean, the sea surface temperatures aren't overly impressive in this area of the world. It's not overly as in this part of the world. The sea surface in this exact part of the world, like the area like off the coast of Baja, is sitting at least, I'm being very specific here, but the sea surface temperatures in May, like not off of Christopher Baja, but, west of Cabo San Lucas, like due west of Cabo San Lucas, those were a little bit, and even around the tip of Cabo San Lucas, those were a little bit warmer in 2014 in the Earth this year. Even though the seas are temperature ton, like the PEO ton, the seas are temperature ton off the like Central Baja California coast is much warmer than it was last year. And that can be something potentially frightening once the core of the season arrives, and we could see a couple high latitude hurricanes because of it. Maybe something similar to Tropical Storm Yasser in 1987, or Hurricane Maria in 1984, or Hurricane Ismail in 1983, or Hurricane Olivia in 1982. Like those kinds of things, that's a legitimate possibility come August and September. But let's not get, as I said earlier in this video, let's not get too carried away. Let's take this one storm at a time. That will wrap up this video. Bye. Bye. Hope you enjoyed it. I should have another one out by Wednesday.